something along those lines, as we kick off our best of 5 semifinales here on 2000 Atmospheres LE. We're the bottom left-hand corner map, swatting all the way. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He is a staple of ESL Open Cup Asia and also NA as well, but yeah, I would also say that he is quite a bit of a staple in the ESL Open Cup NA. Every now and then he plays in the EU, but it's not too often, mostly in Asia and NA. He is, of course, going to be, I already say surface enjoying a red Protoss player, Zest.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is blue, representing Alpha X. He is back, the XDX military Protoss. It is classic.
Oh. For a second I thought you said the XD Protoss. And I feel like that'd be more of like patience or something. I'm imparting. I don't know.
Ex-military, man, he's the army vet.
He is. He's the Spec Ops.
There you go.
I imagine. Hero's probably like a pilot. I imagine.
I can imagine him being like an air flight officer, yeah.
Yeah. Or commercial flight.
Sure. Oh god, but here we are. We've seen plenty of PvPs here in ESL Asia, but because we've been on a bit of a break, I'm very excited to see what we have to offer here. Especially PvP in Korea. Take me, PvP. I need to like wash away all the European PvP that we casted over DreamHack, you know?
Well, you could be in luck. There's a very real possibility that we only cast PvPs from here on out.
But I can only hope.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Oh god. We'll see. We'll see if we get there. Yeah.
Depends on how both of the quarterfinals remaining play out.
That it will. Meanwhile, Zest, of course, he's being the aggressor here, making 4 stalkers and going across the map. Meanwhile, Classic a little bit safer, relying a little bit more on scouting information, trying to go for those sentries, but it will mean that overall he will have less firepower to work with.
He will, but not if he's able to diffuse the firepower of Zest just like so. Very, very early on. That's a little bit of micro here from Classic. Even one pro big.
Oh my god.
Just for that little bit extra, and there we have it. Complete deflection from the aggression of Zest. Zest isn't giving up. He's still moving across the map with the rest of the stalkers he made, but yeah, the time has definitely passed, to say the least.
Exactly. Zest punished for his greed. He went across the map, waddled across the map, tried to go up this ramp, and he was completely shut down. And now, as a result, Zest, he's a little bit, you know, further behind here. He cannot break the defensive position of Classic, and Classic has the luxury to scout and see what Zest is doing. Wow.
Which isn't a whole lot. In fairness.
It's true. I mean, to be fair, Zest, his Twilight Council is faster, so because of that, Classic is well aware, like, oh, okay, you're gonna have a big timing, a big window where you have Blink. I have to be careful. I have to respect that.
Yeah, he sees research as his own Twilight Council is still a little ways off. Just warped into Adepts, which I imagine is for both harass and scouting information.
Yeah, I imagine so as well. As we do have Classic trying to catch up when it comes to that Blink. You know, we have both of our natural bases. We're probing up. No massive differences here. Really, we're waiting to see what comes up next. And there we go. Our first big divergence is that Classic is going for those upgrades.
They have just passed the... They have just both taken turns who wants to be the aggressor in this game, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Shade.
Okay. doesn't commit. But it's really interesting how they've both they're both approaching this, right? Zest, for some reason, again, like, we're not familiar. I'm not used to saying this, but Zest is taking a third base. You know, he's getting a faster robo. Like he's being a little bit more passive
in a PvP.
I know, right? It's crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a PvZ, but is Zest being more passive in a PvP?
Yeah, I mean, he does have the opportunity to blink into the main base here if he so chose, but I mean, Classic is right here to meet him. Again, though, what Zest is doing is, oh my god, is he gonna blink up? He goes for it.
Yeah, that's the idea of that hallucinated Phoenix. Classic, unfortunately, out of position. Wasn't quite able to read where Zest was gonna maneuver his stalkers yet, and will end up losing a pylon and a couple of warped cycles as well.
Yeah, and
does
Zest
wait a little while to repower
Zest
that.
forces Classic to say, look at Classic's mineral bank, Jesus Christ. There we go, he does finally warp in. Finally he throws down that third base. It is so late in comparison. Zest is already done, he's already starting to saturate, and we have Immortals on the way. So again, like, he will have that defender's like tech advantage, but Classic is moving out now a little bit prematurely. +1 is still a ways off.
It's still a ways off, and honestly, it's not that much quicker than Zest's. Zest not only will have the defender's advantage, the tech advantage, but already he's got a little bit of an army advantage. Okay, Classic has been able to overtake that now. He's getting higher and higher, but how long can he maintain this window of opportunity?
That's the real question here. The War Prism is coming out here for Classic, so now he can warp in offensively across the map. +1 is about to finish up pretty soon here, so a nice timing for Classic. But again, he's trying to push into Immortals.
Should not work out for him, to say the least.
We'll see if Zest miss micros and if he leaves his Immortal a little bit too exposed, and Classic, he's going to take that opportunity to just dive on it. But we'll see. Zest, he's just patiently waiting for his opponent, and a second Immortal comes out.
And in the backline. Dep getting a little bit of harassment done. Enough to allow Classic to overtake when it comes to the workers, but he's still got a lot of catching up to do when it comes to tech.
Yeah, exactly.
Hasn't
Classic
really been making Immortals, has he?
He has not. He's trying to rotate around nice force fields. He's able to slice up the army of Zest, but ooh, the War Prism is a little bit exposed. Okay, he does back off with it. More force fields get thrown down.
Yeah, Classic actually getting a little bit of the better end of this engagement.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Some very nice micro there. Nice out-positioning of Zest.
Question is, though, how long is that going to last? As Zest has a mass warp into Zealots, charge is finished up for him. He wants to hit right now before Classic really has anything. He doesn't have charge of his own. He hasn't been able to warp in, only now getting more gateways. Doesn't have Immortals. One of them gonna get popped out now, but it's already it's gonna face a bunch of Zealots and a bunch of Stalkers. So isolated.
It's so exposed. But speaking of exposed, so are the Immortals of Zest. Thankfully, Zest does have War Prism. Never mind, the War Prism gets focused down.
Nice little bit of target firing, but I fear Classic may have lost too much. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Zest has lost 12 workers?
Yeah, there was a bit of a counterattack there, but unfortunately, the Stalkers of Classic have to be recalled. GG gets called, and Zest takes the first game.
Interesting back and forth we had.
It was very back and forth. As you were saying during the cast, we had to kind of, the players were kind of taking turns to see who was the aggressor, who was maintaining that map control, who was applying pressure. But Zest going for the much faster Immortals and keeping them alive really worked out for him.
And the faster Immortals, keeping his Immortals alive, taking up quicker. I also kind of feel like Zest outmaneuvered Classic a little bit there. Classic was kind of guessing, okay, is Zest going to move into my natural, or is he going to hallucinate a Phoenix and jump into my main? And it felt like he was a bit of a deer in headlights for a little while, a little indecisive of where he wanted to position his own Stalkers.
Yeah,
and not paying the price for it.
Exactly. And a lot of that did kind of come down as well. We mentioned it as it was happening, but Classic, his third base being delayed, consistently by Zest as well. Yeah, really did hurt him in the end. But now we're diving into game number 2.
It's best of 5 semifinales. We're here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad. Duh. The red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. We have Zest.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is blue, representing Alpha X. It is Classic.
Alright, I believe.
What do you believe?
Dog goes about this map.
True. There are doggos. They're Berlinese.
Yeah?
There you go.
I wonder what it's gonna be like casting players on big in this map. I say players on big, really it's just
Showtime.
Showtime, yeah.
Not wrong. As, ooh, Zest, he's skirting around the edges of the map here. Meanwhile, so is Classic. So, I was going to say a couple of things about this. Fun fact, I don't think you tuned in. Did you tune into the Bro Rio show match last night?
Let's say I did.
Well, there are some very interesting proxy locations. At the moment, we see that there are no committed proxies, but Starduck, as you can imagine, went for a proxy here on the other side of this mineral wall. Very Romanticide-esque, because, fun fact, these minerals are only 5 minerals each on each patch. So it only takes one worker to mine out either wall.
You don't even need to call that a mule.
You don't.
I love it.
So Starduck went for a proxy gate, then immediately mined out and opened up things to get into the natural. So there's a lot of potential there. We're not seeing that kind of proxy though, as Classic goes for a proxy robo.
Yeah, pretty far back too. So we're waiting a little while for War Prism if I didn't know better.
My God. So yeah, very, very bold move here. Classic also gets a full scout of the main base, confirms that we have a Twilight Council opening from Zest, and wow, like proxy robo is very old school, but very fitting for a player like Classic to go for this, right?
Yeah, player who is a bit more old school.
Yeah. He still has not learned why this is no longer in meta. He's about to, though.
Hasn't learned the ways yet of the Cobra.
King Cobra?
Cobra Kai. Oh, yes, King Cobra too. Yeah.
God damn it. Thought that's what you're going for. But here we go. Classic is moving out. The first Immortal is done. We have a War Prism zooming across, and Zest does go for a hallucinated scout, and oh, he must realize something is wrong. Where's the tech? Where's the Stargate? Where's the Robo? Where's the Twilight Council? Anything. Not everything is missing.
It's expansion, yeah. So he himself is just staying safe back at home. I like this. He gets a shield battery in the back line. Close enough to a Nexus for overcharge, and yeah, also just a good place to retreat to. Blink is going to finish up for him in a little while, and that's really going to be able to level the playing field here.
Yeah, at the moment, Classic is going to be the one with Blink, with this War Prism, as he warps in, ooh, a couple of sentries, so he can, again, cut up that army.
Doesn't need to yet.
Yeah, not yet. It's the first pylon is going to go down. Thankfully, there is a backup pylon behind this, so nothing gets depowered.
Ooh, it's only one additional pylon for now. It's also the... Okay. Ooh. I thought it was the only one keeping the shield batteries alive, but there is another in the back line.
Yeah, thankfully there he is. Meanwhile, it looks like Classic is being forced out of the main base. Overcharge is just too goddamn good, and that is why Proxy Robo isn't a thing anymore, because of Overcharge. But we'll see as it runs out, and Classic is gonna try and push in again.
Yeah, I actually really like the unit composition he's got right now. He's got over double the army supply of Zest at the moment. It's still very difficult to push up into a ramp regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Classic is trying to do some fancy micro, but regardless, the sentry did go down, so no more force fields are available for Classic. There is one for Zest, so Classic has to be careful with how he pushes up this ramp.
Yeah, if not for that one sentry, Classic would have definitely gone straight for it. He's now warping in sentries of his own, and a Zealot as well.
And mate, the longer this goes on, like Overcharge is just around the corner. It's not ready yet, but it's going to be ready in a couple of seconds. Oh, we do have that force field. Zest just buying time for that ability, and he's got it. He can do it. Up!
Just like so, he blinks right on top of that Warp Prism. There goes basically all of the micro potential of Classic. He still has 3 Immortals, but he cannot get them in position.
No, he
That's
can't. He cannot, but you know what? Oh my god, we see another force field. Classic can't get up, and this one lone Immortal is going to get picked off.
That's it. Look at the army supply difference. Zest's gateways were just about taken out earlier on. He had to take time to remake them. He could not produce any army units for quite some time. Sentries are running out of energy. He has no more force fields left.
No, he had one left, but he was a little bit too late. And without the Cyber Core, no more Stalkers, only Zealots without charge. That's exactly what Classic wants. And made Classic, he remade the War Prism. GG, it's called.
Classic showing a bit of a Classic proxy. Taking a Classic proxy out of the garage, making it work once again.
GG. Oh my god. Zest was looking in a really good position, but yo, losing that Cyber Core was huge. Like that was a game-winning move, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Zest had the resources or if it was even the right call to lose earlier on, and would have to look at the replay, but they kind of feel like Zest maybe underestimated the firepower that Classic had. He took a while to remake his production buildings, but at the same time, you don't really want to, as much as you can get away with it, you don't want to be remaking those, right?
Yeah.
If you're confident in your ability to hold and your control and whatnot, you don't want to waste those resources unnecessarily. In this case, though, maybe it would have worked out better for him if he did.
Maybe, yeah, just maybe. As we have our series on our hands, it's not going to be a one-sided 3-0. No, it is not. We're making our players work for it. Oh
yeah, I mean, ever since he got back from the military, everybody was counting him out. But if you'll remember, TSL Code A, Classic took it to the ace match against this fellow over here, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of Glittering Ashes, LE. The red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. DPG! He is Zest.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Isle LE, we have the Korean Protoss player. He is blue, representing Alpha X. It is Classic.
So what do you make of Glittering Ash, Light?
Glittering Ash?
Is it gold? Is all that glitters gold, or is it?
Funnily enough, Glittering Ash is the map without a gold base.
Yeah. There's a lot of gold minerals as like props, but no actual gold base.
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, look at that! Look at that! It's on the belt.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden mine somewhere.
It's odd. It's odd, right? Like, out of all the maps, you'd think that this one would have a gold base, but apparently it's Pride of Altaris. So, shaking my head, map makers.
Oh, it's connected.
Is it?
That's where they get the minerals from.
Is it?
No, wait, but there's also gold minerals that are just growing, and this, that we can't harvest, but apparently,
There's something going on here, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Don't think we're in the mental state for that right now today, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Detective Steele is on the case.
Max Angel. Flying down. But yeah, I was laughing a little bit earlier today, and I think it's still a little too early. I haven't played enough games on this map to really call, but my initial impressions are it's just way too big.
It is an incredibly large map, a lot of bases.
So.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think this is the map with the most bases on the map in the new map pool.
And here's the thing, I feel like it's more open than Romanticide, so we're probably not gonna get like very long games as we did earlier on. But when I'm actually playing, I feel like that's maybe worse because There are multiple times I sent the drop out at about the middle of the map, and they're like, "Ah, yes, I can hit the third base." I'm like, "No, I miscalculated that."
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pathways here. It's almost like maze-like in a way. So, like, there's a lot of counterattack potential. There are a lot of choke points as well. So you could argue that, like,
True.
they're relatively, like, well defended, the forward bases. But like, the thing is that there are still many more, like, entry points into each base. So it is not as easy as Romanticide to get up to 4 bases, like, for a Protoss player. So they will have to work a little bit harder if they want to play that Zest style, just wall off, you know, in PvZ. Like, I don't see that happening too often.
That's what you think. That's just like just build more walls.
Just make more gates. That's what you gotta do, yeah.
If there are 2 openings, make 2 walls.
There you
go.
go.
I don't get it. It's like, what's the issue?
Oh god. So ideally, it's gonna be more difficult, but we'll see. We'll see.
So far, I think, have one of our first major differences without a proxy. When it comes to both their build orders, Classic getting a much earlier Stargate, Zest once again prioritizing that Twilight Council and Blink.
That he is. Meanwhile, the Oracle is looking to come in here for Classic, but Zest had eyes on it with the hallucination. He was able to scout at the Stargate opening, and as we see, Zest going for the much faster natural instead. He hasn't quite been able to utilize it, but he does have the much higher worker lead.
Indeed, he does. These Oracles have not been able to get any damage done yet, but they're sharking around. Both of them will regroup.
Exactly. Classic is waiting for this base to be saturated. Ooh, worker almost gets picked up. Up.
Classic being a little indecisive right now with his Oracles. He hasn't decided, do I want to harass or do I want to use them to support? Picks off a sentry, but at the cost of his own Oracle, and arguably a little bit too late. The force fields already were thrown down.
Mate, but here come another couple of adepts. They're going to be able to shade in. They bust into the main base. They're going to get into the mineral line.
Yeah, and even before that, they are clearing up a bunch of these probes that were pulled earlier on.
Yeah.
Sure, the army is surrounded, but now the probes are going down. This is the damage that Classic wanted to get done. And since we are on Glittering Ashes, it's going to take a little while for Zest to go for the counterattack.
Exactly.
16 probes, mate.
That's a lot of probes. Classic with a massive worker lead. Now, he knows that all he has to do is defend. He immediately throws down 3 shield batteries. You could argue maybe an overreaction, but mate, like, he doesn't have a lot of army. What I'm worried about is that, okay, never mind. I was about to say, like, does Zest have enough to one-shot or two-shot anyway, so the shield batteries won't matter? He doesn't. He doesn't have enough stalkers here, so Classic should be fine.
No! Oh, even without battery overcharge, it still takes a number of shots to deal with these stalkers that Classic has. Void Ray's out now. That's going to be even more of a deterrent. But I tell you what, like, Classic doesn't have a detection. His Oracles from earlier on were taken out.
True.
And now we have a Dark Shard come down for Zest.
Very true. But we do have a Robo here for Classic, so it's going to be difficult for Zest to end the game with DTs, but maybe he can find some damage, maybe. Like, Classic does have all the production he needs, though, to counter it and shut it down.
He has the production. He's just not making detection. And to be fair, why would he, right? There isn't really a big reason for Classic to suspect that that DTs are in the way.
And you know what? Here we go. DTs are being morphed in. Ooh. The main army of Zest, though, is forced back with the Immortal and the Void Ray. Classic is perfectly fine. He's making a second Immortal, though. Again, no Oracle. These DTs are going to be sneaking in.
And even if Classic sees the Shimmer, I fear it's maybe too late. There might be potential for body blocking.
He sees. He's trying to body block as best he can. Oracle, Observer's on the way.
Nice with the body blocking here, but look at all these shield batteries that are now exposed because of it.
Yeah, exactly. One of the pylons does get picked off, but the Observer comes out and Classic defends.
Another fantastic hold. Meanwhile, throughout all this, though, Zest has not stopped probing up, but that is exactly what Classic wants to see. This comes in with the rest of his Adepts.
Mate, the Adepts are dealing devastating damage. They force a recall. Now Classic is perfectly fine at home. He can clean up this proxy. He can probe up. And that Immortal count has been getting higher and higher. He has the War Prism. Classic is ready to move out.
And he definitely... Oh, never mind. I was going to say he definitely wants to, since he wasn't getting a third base. But with Glaive to depths, I'm not as sure. Maybe just wants to continue harassing.
It's an odd choice. It's a very odd choice, but it is a way to overwhelm Zest, definitely. Is it the correct way? We'll see. It's interesting to say the least, as the War Prism is going across the map. As you were pointing out, unfortunately, Classic still doesn't have a third base. Finally, he's going to go and get one, but it is incredibly late. He needs to keep Zest in check to make up for this late third.
I definitely have faith in Classic's adepts here, especially once Glaives finishes up. But 3 Nexuses with Chrono Boost? Losing probes here will still hurt, but it's not going to be as crippling as before.
It really will not. I want to see how the fight will go, though, because we're talking a lot about, like, harassing adepts, but what if they try and pounce on the army? What if we see flanking adepts instead?
Yeah, Shade on top, or even use them for body blocking a little bit. Force fields are the only way.
Yeah, just use them as a buffer, you know, like the firepower here in this army are the immortals, not necessarily the stalkers. Meanwhile, a couple of these adepts are getting picked up. Glaives just finishes up.
Yeah, Classic really did not want to commit before Glaives finished.
Oh no, he did not. We do have a couple more adepts that are about to commit to the shade. The reinforcements do come in. Is this really going to work out? We have an Archon, though, here for Zest.
2 Archons now, and they will do a decent job against the adepts, but as you were saying, what is the answer to these immortals? Just trying to isolate them and pounce with everything that he's got. That is the answer for Zest, and Classic ain't making it easy on him.
That he is not. Meanwhile, I don't know, I'm still not convinced by these adepts, not gonna lie. He's trying to make them work. The Archons are making short work of the adepts. The adepts, they're just getting vaporized.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of these adepts as well. They sort of fumble, get body blocked by themselves a little bit. Loves these Archons to get a couple more volleys in them. Exactly. Feels bad, man.
Oh boy, it feels like Classic wants to distract the army. He wants to get a couple of them into a mineral line. He wants to hit the economy of Zest more than anything, but it's just not working out. Zest deflects Classic, and now Classic he's forced back, and the longer this game goes on, I feel like the better it is for Zest.
Yeah, Classic still has not taken a third base. He wants to end this.
Yeah, he's all in,
not
mate.
convinced he's going to be able to. That's a lot of adepts, I gotta say.
It is. And maybe the Archons will go down. We'll see. No, they're both kept alive here by the War Prism. We even have a third Archon joining the fray.
And we talk about the adepts being a little bit low on range, but the immortals do take a little while as well to get in position. This one Void Ray is making micro hell for Zest right now, but he is pulling it off.
He is. Meanwhile, Classic does take out the third base, so now we have equal bases for both players. And Classic behind this, he wants his own Archons.
Yeah. Warpers is missing one another. Nice.
That they do. No! One more! Feels bad, man.
Look, he just bruised it as a warning.
And this is scary. We need the Immortals here to help bolster this army. Oh god, we do have a bit of a surround though. Zest, he pounces on top of the War Prism.
Yeah, very good blink. His Archons as well, distracting 2 Immortals of Classic for so long. That's it. Most of the Archons are going to go down, but look at his warp into charge lots. Yeah,
the charge lots close the distance, and Zest just engulfs the army. Classic loses everything. And he's got nothing left behind this, mate. He was still stuck on 2 bases the entire time. We have a couple of Archons on the way, but it's a little bit too late. Zest has so much momentum.
He's making absolute use of it. At the very least, for Classic, Zest hasn't remade his third base, so you know I can kind of see where he's coming from with thinking that their economies are equal, but they're kind of not.
They really aren't. Classic is actually taking a little bit of a minor economic lead here, but like the army just isn't really speaking to me at the moment. To be fair, it is always difficult to just push charge lots into Archons, so Zest can't just A-move his way in, but these Archons are getting work done.
Exactly. it's going to be difficult for Zest to move into Classics Archons. Meanwhile, Zest's own Archons. Wrecking house. Jeez.
Yeah.
Nothing shoots up.
Nothing shoots up, mate. We have a Phoenix on the way. I guess the Phoenix is... Oh, yo, the Phoenix will clean this up. We're going to see a recall. No, it's too late. Up, 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 up.
Archon's trying to get the volleys out. Here comes a recall.
Yeah, Classic just barely sniping that War Prism. Now, Classic doesn't have to worry about a counterattack, and he's still all in. Meanwhile, Zest is trying to get a third up. How
Classic just does not want to count to 3.
Yeah, like how all in can you get, mate? Like Classic just refuses to expand.
This is an all-in that's lasted about 6 minutes.
It really has.
Maybe even longer.
Oh god. We'll see if he can somehow pull it off, pushing up a ramp into Archons, though. This is not the way, Classic. This is not the way.
So many Adepts, too. That is just going to be a meat grinder if he does push up. Now just trying to get a little bit of maneuverability, trying to outmaneuver Zest. He may be able to do it with these distracting Adepts.
Yeah, but there's just look at the sheer amount of Archons. It's crazy. My god.
Yeah, these may not be charge units, but they are still light units that clump up. I'm talking about the Adepts, of course. Classic still needs to be very, very careful of how he engages.
Yes, 7 Archons. Just how are you meant to break through this without Archons and Immortals of your own? And the answer is, like, you don't, mate. You don't break through it. Oh my god.
Look at that battery overcharge. Really working overtime to keep these Archons alive.
That they do. Meanwhile, Classic does scare his opponent with a shade, and now he's actually... The base has been exposed. Oh my god, Zest, please.
Get him with the shade, hurt him with the real thing. Just like so.
Yeah, at the same time, the Immortal tried to slip into the main base, but oh my god. There were Archons there to meet him, and... Oh no! The Adepts! Run away!
I feel like that's the one saving grace of Classic. Found him, he would definitely tap out. Zest definitely has the advantage still.
Yeah,
double the army supply and not too far behind the workers.
Yeah, like, this is the army of Classic. Like, if he loses this, like, Zest is just gonna go across the map and end it. Thankfully, Classic does keep the majority of these Adepts alive, and he's running all the way back home. He's actually long-distance mining from the... Like, I feels bad, man. If Classic was a Terran player, he would have lifted up his main base and floated it over to the third by now. Like,
Yeah, this is why Nexuses should get Blink.
True.
Alright, a lot more probes are going down. Now it's Zest's turn to go all in, but I fear the Classic's just poking the bear.
Yeah, Zest is down to 10 workers, but I just... we'll see. 3 shield batteries overcharged, 2 Immortals. Can Classic somehow defend?
Well, he's making use of his battery overcharge, his shield batteries as well. Zest, he knows better than to push into that, though. Or does he?
It's crazy. Like, Classic just keeps warping in nothing but Adepts. I just... I don't know, mate. Here we go, Classic. He's trying to hold on as best he can. The Archons are pushing through. The Immortals of Classic are doing a lot of damage. The boys are forced off the line. But all the Adepts are dead, mate.
Yeah, that's just about the final sign of when things are getting desperate here. GG is called, and I gotta say, there was a moment where I really thought Classic was gonna do it. Where I really thought that, I don't know, maybe he could bait Zest into attacking him into those shield batteries. But at the end of the day, Zest just had a much better army and much better control for the most part. I guess not so much control, but positioning with his army.
Positioning, yeah. Trying to push up the ramp. Multiple times there, Classic was, and it was so difficult to pull off. Odd game. It was an odd one.
Yeah. Sort of non-standard, and then
yeah,
just continued at least from the side of Classic, and have a bit of an update for you. Like, we are guaranteed a PvP finals.
Oh, both Beyond and Time 1?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, PvT unwinnable, mate.
Exactly.
Oh my god, but wow, what a game there. It was interesting. Classic just being incredibly stubborn with his Glaive Adepts. It was an interesting choice going for them, but yeah, in the end, didn't quite work out.
Unfortunately not. But now, we're going to continue our series on Curious Minds LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. The red Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He only needs un momento, por favor. Un o más. I'm sorry, I still have a little bit of Jaime in my brain. He is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. We have Zest.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Classic.
Chatsic.
See people in the chat. They've been. It's just so odd to think about. That was like a 10. How long did that game last? Like a 15-minute all-in? Like that was crazy.
Pretty much. It was an all-in from the start, and then it just kept going on.
It was exhausting, mate. It was just.
It's like taking part in the 100-meter sprint, and then all of a sudden being told, "Oh yeah, you actually need to run another 400 meters as well." It's like, well,
Jesus
may have been a
Christ.
chance for Classic there, but
Yeah,
they just ran out of steam towards the end.
exactly. You know, like when the initial push didn't work, then would have been the moment to try and transition. But at the same time, I'm sure Classic was well aware that Glaive at Eps has no use as the game progresses into the mid game, right? It just hard falls off. So he was like, you know what? I'm committed. We're doing this. This is gonna work, or I'm gonna die trying. And he died.
And he tried.
He tried. Oh boy, did he try?
But you know what they say, the harder they try,
Stargate?
the harder they die.
True. We'll see what the proxy
feel
is.
another robo. There we go! You don't make it that close if it's a Stargate.
Very true. I mean, unless it was like Void Rays with shield batteries.
True.
But
In fairness.
yeah, it is gonna be proxy robo here. Zest is moving out. Is he gonna check? Up. He sees. He sees the high ground. Yeah. No. Classic. ¿Por qué? Oh my.
Don't tell me this is how it ends.
Classic. This is not the place to be because, as we see, just walking up this ramp gives you vision, despite the fog of war.
I was gonna go into this whole thing where I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing that, it's lucky for Classic that Zest is the player to try to attack those rocks or anything, but yeah, apparently that was just in range of the high ground vision. Classic has to go back to the drawing board when it comes to this build on this map in particular.
You say, yeah, he does. When it comes to the execution of the build, but right now he's committed. You know, he threw down 2 additional pylons, he threw down a shield battery. He is going to try and make this work or die trying, just like the previous game.
Major deja vu. That's it. He does have an immortal, so
True.
at least it is something.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's going to be able to take down one of these pylons. We have a secondary pylon, though, so nothing will be depowered. Meanwhile, where is the army for Zest? Here we go. The first immortal is on the way.
I feel like that's just about going to be nailed in the coffin. Look at that flank. Look at how low the immortal already is. Oh, that's a hot pickup if I've ever seen one.
It was hot, but is there much left here? We do see a couple of sentries being morphed in. Classic maybe going to try and be cheeky and just slip into the main. Yeah, that's the plan. He wants to try and go into the main. Oh, Zest with the read. Oh no, the misread.
What a big brain. Nobody expects the warpers to go behind enemy lines, and for good reason, because the sentry has so long to has so much ground to cover to block the ramp.
I question what we just saw. The warpers are taking a lot of damage. Oh my god. Like, no one expects the sentries in the mineral line. It's like, you're not wrong.
It's like, oh wait, I need to force field the ramp. No, the unit's already here.
Oh god. Okay, here we go. We're gonna have a third immortal. So, I mean, Classic still has a lot of firepower. Like, he can still brute force his way into this. It's still going to be difficult, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely got to give it a Classic. He is a man of commitment. Ladies.
I mean,
he will, despite getting this scouted very, very early on, he is still going for it. He's still producing Immortals. He's still producing out of that Robo and warping in more and more units from that location. At the very least, he's kind of contained his Zest,
yeah.
I guess.
Hey, you know what? The Cybercore got picked up, so no more Sentries, no more Stalkers, no more Adepts for Zest, only Zealots.
True.
We've been here
They're
before.
Gonna be slow lots, which aren't going to be too useful against all these units that can kite them.
Yeah. God, that bank is getting higher and higher. Zest has still not remade the Cybercore. Finally, he started, but mate, that is a solid 20 seconds too late.
Yes, very much so is. All of these abilities are gonna get.
Look at the Immortal count.
Out. It is insane. 4 of them. Yeah, honestly, it shouldn't be too much trouble moving up this ramp now with 4 Immortals out.
Oh god, where's the force field? Where's the force field? We don't have enough energy for a force field.
Yes, no energy. Oh my lord, is Classic gonna do
He's
it? Juggling the Immortals onto the high ground, flanking with everything he's got. Now a very quick warp in. Zest forced to warp in from his one gateway before the Cybercore can finish up. My lord, Classic, he's gonna do it. GG, we thought that he had to reevaluate when it comes to this map. We thought that getting scouted was gonna be the end of him. But he fights back hard. That's the thing about Classic, man. You back him into a corner, he's gonna give it everything he's got.
You know what's
we'll
great?
Go to our ace match.
You know what's great about what we've seen today? Fun fact: both games that Classic has won in this best of 5 were proxy robos. Classic is he himself is shifting the PvP meta, mate. Because proxy robo has been dead for a solid year. It's been dead, mate. No one's been doing it. And now Classic shows up with proxy robo and he's beating Zest. Zest, the best Protoss in the world? Mate.
He is the prince that was promised. Chin that was promised.
He's the chin that was promised, mate. Oh, God.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of fitting, right? We normally expect Zest to be the player who shifts metas in matchups, but he's going to the military pretty soon. Who better to take his place than Classic, just returning from the military? Oh, pardon me, just had to clear my throat a little bit. As we conclude this series now on Hardwire LE, or as I like to call it, Enrainer as well. The new Beckett LE, literally the same map, honestly speaking. In the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. DPG, we have Zest.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is blue, representing Alpha X, tying up the series 2-2 in the previous game. And now we're here in the ace match. It is Classic.
I honestly don't know who I want to win more here. It's obviously a huge Classic fan ever since the very, very early days. Ever since, honestly, even, yeah, since the very, very early days. Soul Boy, back when he played Terran. That's actually a lie. I wasn't following StarCraft back then.
Yeah, I was about to say that you weren't watching StarCraft at all back then. So.
Yeah, no, but yeah, ever since early Legacy, I really liked Classic's play. He was kind of one I was rooting for the entire time. But at the same time, I think it would be funny to see Zest go for a marathon play. If he gets taken out now, he's gonna take a nap. He's gonna be fresh for Home Story Cup, and that's not what you want to see. You want to see deranged Zest.
You say that
later on tonight.
I mean, he's gonna sleep anyway, but
probably.
Yes. Oh my God, Classic. He scouts the proxy pylon here of Zest, so beautifully done. If there is a proxy later on, he will have eyes on it, but as we see, it is just a pylon on the side of Zest.
Yeah, just a spotter for now.
Meanwhile, I would love to request of you, Yaku, to hold the camera as I have to BRB.
Yes. Okay, are you killing another spider? That's what I usually assume.
What?
Yeah. Alright, I have to remember how to observe now. Alright, come on, Rainer. Send me your observing energy. Open Cup has been an absolute blast, guys. That's probably one of the blessings in disguise I've had, having my sleep schedule completely messed up. But yeah, continuing on. Zest not making use of that pylon location yet. Again, just gonna be a spotter. Gets a much earlier robo facility this time. I think he actually skipped out on the Twilight Council. Yeah, he skipped out on the Twilight Council for now in this game, so not gonna be having Blink for a little while. Classic already chipping away at that pylon. That's exactly what Zest wants as he moves forward with his own stalkers. Classic sending everything to take out that one pylon, but he will take it out in time. I can't turn around, but it looks like he wants to be a little bit aggressive with his stalkers as well. At least as aggressive as Zest with his own. It's going to be a bit of an awkward engagement here from both sides, but Zest will hit a little bit quicker. We'll see if this forces a reaction out of Classic, but somehow I doubt it. Good force field. Classic continues to move forward with his own stalkers. No sentries in location right now. There's the sentry, and it will get the force field. Will block 2 of the stalkers for now, but another 2 already making it to the base. They're already chipping away at the forces of Zest. Should be fine. No, meanwhile, on the other side of the map, that natural base actually still gets up and running, but maybe not for long, as the Warp Prism finishes up here for Zest.
Oh boy, what did I miss? I see Zest on one base, and I see Classic struggling to hold on to his natural.
That's, yeah, pretty spot on. That's pretty perceptive of you.
Oh boy. As the Warp Prism about to show up here for Zest. I mean, what's important though is that Classic losing this natural isn't the biggest of deals, right? Like Zest, it's not like he has an expansion behind this. Classic can afford this loss.
Yeah, especially since he is going to be the player taking up a little bit quicker. Obviously, Zest has that robo facility quicker, so he can get the Immortals out, but he's not making them for now. Classic could have Blink pretty soon.
Oh god, exactly. Ooh. Solid force field there, cutting up the army of Zest. We do have one more force field available on this sentry if it survives. Oh.
If it survives, and it will survive. How well the force field's gonna be. Does block off the army once again, but at the cost of his own sentry. Blink not done yet, so Zest completely out microing Classic with this Warp Prism for now.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I was about to say that we do have enough energy for an overcharge. The overcharge is popped arguably prematurely, is what I have to say. Like, Zest, he's just gonna wait it out, and then dive back in.
Just like so, but as time passes on, Blink is getting closer and closer to finishing up.
Yeah, that it is, but will Blink be enough here? Because Zest, yes, pseudo Blink, but oh, a couple of boys are even being pulled there. Classic, so far, he is holding on. He will lose a gateway, but behind this, you were talking about it. I didn't think that Zest would do it. He actually is making an Immortal, and he's transitioning. Or trying to.
Ooh. Yeah, this is on trying to. See if Classic gives him enough time to do that. Ooh. Blinks right under the Warp Prism and will take it out. Superior numbers when it comes to Stalkers.
Wow.
Better positioning as well. And I'll see Classic goes straight on for the counterattack, just like so. But now they're already Immortals out for Zest.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Zest was punished there. He had the opportunity to maybe go for another round of Warp-ins across the map, but instead he invested in the Twilight Council, in the Robo, in the Immortals, and now Classic was able to shut everything down. And now he's the one going across the map. Can he get much done, though? He does have Blink, but there's that Immortal.
It is looking a little bit exposed, but there was enough of a buffer. Now that Guardian Shell has been worn out, Classic can just blink around top of these. Another Immortal here, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well worth it still for Classic, though. Again, killing a single Immortal like that, and we have a couple more reinforcements. The Immortal, the Guardian Shell, the Shell, it ran out.
Just like so, but his Stalkers are so weak.
Yeah, he doesn't go for the Immortal. We have the defensive warp in here. Zest holds on, but Classic expands behind this.
And it looks like we're getting a bit of a longer game. Who'd have thought we'd have gotten it on Nova Beckett?
Exactly. Oh god, no one calls it Beckett, by the way. But yeah,
well, we're workshopping names, but you know, it is basically Beckett.
Not at all. But yeah, we'll see if Zest is going to be able to break out here. He will have 2 Immortals available to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a War Prison, so he can't, like, micro his Immortals. Ugh.
Yeah, but it is on the way. Blink is also about to finish up for him, so Zest is going to be able to start turning the tables on Classic. That's it. Still 1 base. Classic, saturating his natural base.
Yeah, that he is, as, you know, we do have the probes being main-arted over, and Classic is looking pretty good, except for the fact that Zest is closing the gap, and I'm really curious to see if Zest even tries to expand, or if he just goes for another 1 base all-in.
And the answer is looking to be that 1 base all-in. I mean, he's sending some probes to the low ground, but I have a feeling he's just going to long-distance fight from that. Yep.
Yeah, he does have enough minerals for a Nexus, so I'm really curious to see if he throws one down or if he decides to reinforce across the map without... yeah, there's reinforcements. Oh boy. I feel like we have a bit of a role reversal. Zest feels like Classic right now from the previous game.
Yeah, but is he going to be as committed? It's a question. Oh, Classic not in position. Now he sees the Warp Prism, but is it too late? I will say that Zest doesn't have any sentries. He cannot force field Classic out.
He cannot, but already 2 pylons go down. The boys are being pulled. Do we have some focus fire on the Warp Prism? The Warp Prism survived for so long. Finally, it goes down.
And now Zest has to get something done. He's got a lot of firepower in his hands. 2 Immortals and a ton of Stalkers still. Classic has the defense advantage. He's pulling a couple of boys. He can afford to lose them. Again, he's got the base advantage. But now he's starting to lose his Immortals and his Stalkers.
That he is. The overcharge is so far back. It wasn't really coming into play at all. The Immortal of Classic goes down. Zest has the momentum. The Robo has been depowered, and Zest is dominating the main.
Wow, GG. What a back and forth series we've just witnessed. What a treat, honestly. I feel like every single time we've seen Zest and Classic go up against one another, it always goes to the ace match.
It usually does. It usually does. And wow, what a series here between these 2 players. God, it was so unfortunate there for Classic because, as we saw, he was completely out of position. He wasn't ready in his main base. He was outside the natural. And his SimCity was really working against him. He was having such a hard time fighting Zest because everything was just getting stuck on each other.
Yeah. He really was not expecting the blink into the main, which, I mean, do Protoss players normally expect that in the PvP? I mean, you know, as a Terran player, that's got to be on the back of my mind after all the trauma, but I mean, yeah, I gotta emphasize a little bit. The Protoss players who maybe aren't as used to it.
Yeah, you've been conditioned for that sort of thing.
Exactly. I was born and it molded by it.
It still kills you. It still kills you. Oh god. But with that, congratulations, Zest. Condolences to Classic, but he still walks away with some money. You know, he still got in there up to the semifinals.
Yeah, a little bit of prize money. Yeah, no EPT points, unfortunately. That's only to the winner, the champion. But
not true.
Quite a bit of money.
He does get EPT points.
Oh yeah, he does actually.
Yeah, it was all expanded. It was all expanded.
Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, final season. At least for the year.
Yeah, all good, all good. So yeah, really well done there by Zest. He is our first finalist, and as you were bringing up earlier, our next semi-final match is going to be a TVT.